Good morning. Hope you guys are doing well. Just wanted to start off the week with some killer fundamental work. Okay, can you check to make sure that there's sound? Okay, perfect. You know, I have to make sure that there is sound. Let's just get right to this. Rock and roll. Do is we're going to set up the hand. We're going to go through basically the steps I take when I'm actually practicing. So I'm going to pick out a tip and I am going to clip off the back end of the plastic. And what that's going to do is just kind of free up that thickness that you see right there. And then what I could do is I could push into the practice hand. I usually try to push it in and wait for like 3 clicks. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove all the excess from the front end, and this is going to give me the ability just to kind of round off the free edge so that I could prepare the tip for preparation. So in general, what you'd want to do is push back the cuticles, and then after you're done pushing back the cuticles, what we're going to do is we're going to use our electric file at a really low RPM. The speed that I'm going to be working with is very gentle. So I'm working at 3,000 RPMs. I want to be able to tickle underneath, okay? All right, so what we're going to do is just lightly remove shine from corner to corner, okay? So I'm using a feathering motion, and I'm working this way. Right, so for me, having this position, as you can see, I'm not holding the hand like this because it's very hard for me to work this way. If I come over, it gives me the opportunity to turn the finger to the side so that I could tickle the side walls and then work again from corner to corner. Once I'm done doing that, then what I want to be able to do is use swipe, right, to clean the surface of the nail. That is going to balance the pH level. It's going to clean it. It's going to remove all the oils and contaminants from the surface, and it's going to prepare it for protein bond application. So what we want to be able to do is we want to be able to do 2 coats. You're going to be able to go through and apply a coat on all 10 fingers. Then as soon as you're done doing all 10, you're going to come back and you're going to apply 1 more. That is ready to rock and roll. Okay, so let's keep this to the side. Let's get our liquid ready. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold my bottle, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold it up to the ferrule. So if I hold it up to the metal piece, then what I'll be able to do is I'll be able to pour inside my dish without ever spilling down the side of the bottle. Okay, and then once we're done doing that, let's really just kind of focus on really good practices so that you have success when you're actually laying down the acrylic. And it's kind of cold in here right now. I don't know if you guys noticed, but the heater's on auxiliary because you have it up too high. It's not going to work. Yeah, you have to set it to like only 5 degrees above. If you go up too high, sorry, I'm like telling my team here. All right, so what we need to do is we have to be able to work on picking up the right size pearl, right? So if you submerge your brush, you're going to notice that if I bounce inside my powder, I'm going to be able to get a really nice bead on one side of my brush. Now, look, if again, I'm sitting here waiting and waiting and waiting. What I want to be able to do is if I release that bead, you notice that it doesn't really run too quickly. Okay, so before it actually gets all over the place, what I'm going to do is just kind of scoop all that up. I'll show you guys on a form. So if you're working on any type of a free edge, right? If I put a form on, what we want to be able to do, again, is we want to be able to pick this up and we want to be able to drain some of the excess off the back end of the brush before I set this to the surface. And again, you're going to get a little bit of a run, and that's fine because the temperature in here right now is like in the low 60s. It's cold inside here, right? So, normally you can see I have to sit here and kind of balance it in play. which is fine. But can you imagine, let me just go ahead and take this off. Can you imagine if you didn't do that? If you submersed your brush and you actually picked it up, if the product was cold, and then you went ahead and you just set this down on the form and released it. I'm gonna show you, check this out. Watch how fast this runs without draining it. That would be a big problem, okay? So to control the run, I'll even show you something. If it's really, really cold in your shop, what you can do is you could always you can get like a heating pad underneath, and you could set your powder and your dish underneath, or just keep your bottle kind of wrapped around a towel inside just to kind of warm it up. But you'll notice that if I pick up a nice bead and I actually drain out the excess, right, I'm gonna take my time because I know that the temperature is quite cold. But if I release a lot of the monomer from the back side, you can see that I can really get it to just kind of stabilize. And that is the key, right? That's going to be the key, especially when you're working in really, really cold temperatures, okay? So what we want to be able to do now is we want to really get in and like set up the hand so the form applies perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take basically this tab, I'll place it underneath, and then what this is going to do, it's going to kind of give it a little bit of stability through here. And then what we want to be able to do is when we're applying it to, right, when we're applying it to the edge of the nail, this keeps it in a convex shape. But you'll notice as soon as I get underneath, I could use my hand to just lift it up. And then once I lift it up and it's completely straight, then I'm going to put pressure here on the side to keep basically the form as straight as we can. So if we're building a free edge, let's just go through that technique. I'm going to go ahead and get myself a nice bead, right? Well, let's count this out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? I really want to kind of remove all that excess because I don't want it to run. I mean, the temperature is cold. So if you guys are, again, working in really cold temperatures, this is how you're going to prevent it from like getting away from you, right? Or just kind of working over, say, a heating pad. And then what that's going to do, it'll stabilize. Once the acrylic or the powder is kind of warmed up, then you're going to have a lot of success. But you'll notice even as cold as it is right now, what I'll be able to do is I'll be able to manipulate the acrylic without it really getting away from me. So I could spend the time, I could use the sidewalls of my brush just to kind of push it into place. And you notice that I'm really working with the body of the brush over the surface. So if I'm using the side of the brush, then I'll use it just to kind of get it even. But even from the side, you notice that I'm trying to get this as even as I can from the end of the growth channels, right? From the end of the growth channels all the way out to the edge. That's what we want to be able to build out, right? And you'll notice as cold as it is, this is really a great way to show all of you guys, because for those of you guys that live in the East Coast, Northeast, it's starting to get quite chilly up there, okay? So once we build our tip, and again, you're going to be able, with your skills, you're going to be able to build multiple free edges at a time, go back, juggle them, get them tight. And then what you have to really focus on, especially with the cuticle area, is setting it down and allowing the product to be able to run into the perfect direction. And the perfect direction is going to be down. So the angle I'm actually holding it's like this. I'm not going to hold it like this. I'm going to hold it like this. And the reason why I want to be able to hold it down at an angle is because we need it to be able to self-level. We need it to run. So I'm going to get a bead, bounce, 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 bounce. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm not draining anything. 5. I'm going to wait because it's really, really cold. Kind of the 6, maybe is 7 count to release. and then use the tip of the brush just to gently kind of press around the edges. As soon as it gets down, I'm really going to focus on just holding it in place, right? So my angle, you can see I'm holding my brush in place so that the bead runs down towards the tip of the nail, but a lot of the excess really kind of stays. You can see how the bulk is running down towards the body. Well, that's fine. What I could do is I could use the body of the brush, and at this angle, right, at this angle, what I'm doing is I'm kind of forcing some of that acrylic back up into the body, and you can see how I could keep it nice and tight around the edges, because what I've done is I've allowed it to kind of self-level into place. If it runs down towards the edge, what you can do is you could just hold it. So, the key is, especially when it's really, really cold, you don't want to just start attacking it, because if you start to attack it, then what you're going to do is you're going to brush this really kind of wet acrylic over the whole entire surface. You can start to see it set into place. I still have the ability to use the body of my brush and kind of walk it, but what I'm really proud of is I'm able to get it really tight around the perimeter of the nail, and I didn't really have to do much but use kind of the angle of my brush just to kind of slide it down around the edges and guide it into place. So the only thing I'm left with is going to be that tip. So I'm going to submerge my brush. I'm going to pick up a nice bead. I'm going to dab off. I'm going to dab off the excess, right? And then what I could do is right in between where the acrylic and the missing product is, I'll just kind of go ahead and set that down and then brush it into the body. Then I could use the body of my brush really to focus on trying to get it even from side to side. And then again, I'm using the side of my brush, holding it into place as I start to walk it over the area of the tip that is missing. And so again, the whole purpose of this demonstration was to demonstrate, hey, if you're working with acrylic in really cold temperature, and it's low 60s inside my classroom right now, what I'm really trying to do is be patient. For all of you guys out there that are working with really good monomers, you're working with our monomer and polymer. If you get in and you didn't have a chance to kind of warm everything up, this is how you're going to have to kind of attack it so that you're able to build out a great structure without getting away from you. So again, we're going to let this set and then we can file this into shape. Now, what I do recommend, again, if you guys are getting into the shop and it's really, really cold, what you can do, again, never, ever, again, you're never going to put your products in a microwave. Dude, that is like the dumbest thing you could ever do. You don't do that. What you can do is you can turn on the hot water, right? And then you can take your bottle of cold liquid, especially if you get in the shop and it's really cold, and you can just run it under hot water for maybe a couple of minutes and kind of warm up the bottle. Or what you could do is get a heating pad. You can go CVS, Rite Aid, get a heating pad, get it nice and toasty, and then keep it underneath your towel. Wrap this around the towel, get the bottle warm, get your powders warm. If you can raise the temperature of the monomer, right, then it's going to react like the temperature is like 75, 80 degrees inside your shop, especially right now when the temperature is freezing. And again, what's freezing? It's relative, right? Here in California, anything in the 50s, man, everyone's chilly willy. If you are in the Midwest, Northeast areas where it's really, really cold, you have to be able to prepare. But what I demonstrated right there is going to take a little bit of patience. You have to be able to understand how to manipulate the acrylic, especially when the temperatures are not on your side. So that will help you guys tremendously. You can apply that to the work you do. If you guys have any questions, hit me up. Let me know what I can do to help. I hope this helped. I hope you guys have a great day. Wanted to start off the week right, showing you guys what to do if you're working in chilly temperatures, and looking forward to seeing all your success. I appreciate you. Love you much. I'll be seeing you soon. Peace.